What's up, everybody, and welcome to D Spot. This is the spot for all things yoga, meditation, and psychoeducation. My name is Dalia, and I am a mental health professional, empowerment coach, energy healer, and yoga teacher. And I started this channel as a way to empower people through knowledge and tools to become the best version of themselves, to assume their roles as creators of their own reality, and of course, to arm you with everything you need to improve your mental health and overall well-being. This is also my little spot of the internet where I can share my journey, my learnings, and create a community and a safe space for myself and others to be vulnerable and to be supported and loved and accepted on their journey. Now, in the spirit of that vulnerability, I would be remiss if I didn't say that this YouTube channel has been a long time in the making, and I mean a long ass time. I have had this idea for over 6 years now, and I sabotaged and I procrastinated and I picked it up and put it down time and time again, only to later learn that I did that because of my perfectionistic tendencies. Yeah, it turns out I was a closeted perfectionist, and I'd done a lot of work on myself, and I'm finally at a place where I feel like I can just start showing up as the person that I'm trying to become. And I am now less concerned with being perfect and more concerned with being embodied, with being authentic, with actually showing up. And so if you haven't already guessed, the theme for this first video is going to be perfectionism and how it just so happens that perfectionism and procrastination go hand in hand. Who would have thought? Now, first things first, what is perfectionism anyway? It is the pursuit of being flawless, of being perfect, which can be both a motivator, but it can also be a stumbling block. Now, what many don't realize is that, like I said, perfectionism often goes hand in hand with procrastination, a duo which together can really derail progress and affect overall well-being. And so I'm going to share with you a little bit more about my journey with perfectionism, and I'm going to give you some tips on how you can begin overcoming it and some practical tools that can help you begin to do the work yourself. Now, I remember when I first had the idea to start this YouTube channel, and I was so motivated. I mean, I went ahead and I invested in like a proper professional camera, lights, microphone, green screen, the works. And I created this little makeshift studio in my apartment in Dubai. And I somehow would just pick it up and drop it and pick it up and put it down. And I did this so many times and I never followed through on my goal. And I could never even quite figure out why I did this. I mean, I really questioned myself. I'm like, is this really something I really want? Like, am I as ambitious as I thought I was? Do I have what it takes, like the discipline and the willpower? And I went through a lot of just doing the work, exploring my inner psyche, combing through my subconscious programs and beliefs, which is a big thing that we're going to be talking about in this channel, how your subconscious forms, what subconscious programs are, and how we still operate from those places in our daily lives. But anyways, I digress. So I did the work, and after the universe pushed me back in this direction, and I found myself yet again flirting with the idea of whether or not I'm going to start this YouTube channel, that I realized that I really got in my own way because I was so fueled by being a perfectionist. And I know it sounds ambitious to be a perfectionist, but it's really not. It brings with it a lot of stress, self-criticism, and let's be honest, an unrelenting need for approval. So the first thing to understand is perfectionism is a trap. Now, it is oftentimes fueled by fear, fear of failure, fear of being seen, fear of rejection. And it's also driven by impossibly high standards and expectations. Now, something to know about me is I am the eldest in my family, the eldest sibling, and I just so happen to be the golden child, which means I've always felt a lot of pressure to excel. And I think partly because I was conditioned to become very addicted to the validation that I got every time I achieved something. And boy, did I achieve. I was a high honor student my entire educational career. And even in my jobs, I went after really ambitious jobs. And every time I got a promotion and every time I did the thing and I got the achievement, I was really happy. And it was like a self-fulfilling, like a vicious circle that kept me trapped in this perfectionism trap. But really, what was driving me was a fear of being seen for the imposter that I am. Because you know what? Why not throw a little imposter syndrome into the mix? So there I was thinking that I'm a perfectionist because I'm so ambitious, when it turns out I am a perfectionist because I am literally terrified of being found out as an imposter. And of course, let's add to all of this setting these unrealistic expectations where I was literally comparing my chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 10, like someone who's been a YouTuber for many years, who have incredible content, but probably have a whole crew and team working with them to create these Hollywood level productions. And here I am filming this on my Zoom. Don't get me wrong, I still have all the equipment I bought when I got excited about this channel, but I realized, yeah, this is just way easier. And I know that it's more important for me to show up imperfectly than to procrastinate with the intention of trying to be perfect and then show up. All I know is I couldn't shake off the feeling that I need to be doing this. This is my calling, empowering people through educational and I hope entertaining content. And I did a lot of inner child healing. I connected with that part of me that felt like she needed to be perfect all the time. And I reassured her that she didn't, that she was still going to be loved unconditionally. And I also connected with the part of me that was afraid. And I realized that really being afraid is a normal part of the human condition, especially when we're putting ourselves out there, especially when it comes to taking a leap like this. But what do brave people do? Brave people act despite the fear. And so I decided that I wasn't going to waste a single second further not doing what I knew was in alignment with my values and my higher self. And so I just focused on visualizing what the best version of me would do. And I just show up as that version every single day. And that is a great exercise for you to do as well. So let's take a second right now and just bring forth this image of the most actualized version of yourself. Just think of the future version of you, the best version of you possible. And just connect with that for a second. Ask yourself, what is that version of me doing? What does that version of me look like? Who are they surrounded by? How do they feel? Really just take a second and be mindful, noticing how it feels in your body to be connecting with that version of yourself. How it feels to know that that is possible, because if your brain can imagine it, then it can be a reality. That's what I'm here to remind you, is that you are the architect of your reality. And so once you've met yourself in that highest light, just get in the habit of every day asking yourself one question. What is the smallest, easiest, simplest step that I can take today to move me in that direction? And just start doing that every day. Because I learned that little imperfect steps, but taking action is better than not taking any action at all. So allowing yourself to show up imperfectly, to be vulnerable, to be embodied is the strongest, most powerful act that you can do. And so I'm going to share with you 3 tips on how you can begin to reframe and to work through the perfectionistic tendencies. And I'm also going to give you a great tool to help you do the work yourself. Now, my first tip is to practice mindfulness and self-compassion. The first step is to be aware. You need to be aware of how perfectionism plays out in your life. You need to be aware of when you catch yourself engaging in perfectionistic tendencies. And then with a gentle self-compassion, begin to remind yourself that you are a human being, that perfectionism is an unrealistic goal, and to just deepen it by asking yourself if there's an inner child or a part of you that needs some reassurance here. And then with a lot of kindness and compassion, learning to just give yourself what you need. Be your biggest cheerleader and encourage yourself. The second tip I have is for you to develop a growth mindset. Embrace the concept that imperfections and mistakes are stepping stones to growth. You really have to recognize that progress involves learning through trial and error, and that reframing failure becomes so that you're seeing it as an opportunity to become better, not as something to be afraid of. And the third tip I have for you is to surround yourself by supportive people. Having the right environment for you to do this kind of work is really important. And here I really want to shout out my girl Nadine, because me and her started a little accountability group where we check in on each other daily, share what our intentions are, and then check back with each other at the end of every day to make sure that we are doing the things that we're setting out to do. And doing them, even if they aren't imperfect, you get that sense of fulfillment and accomplishment that, hey, I did that thing. And so having that accountability helped me so much. So thank you, girl. And for you to surround yourself by people who are going to keep you accountable and support you is an amazing way to begin to snap out of that perfectionism mindset. And so I also want to give you the actual tools and practical tools that you can use to begin doing the work yourself. Now, you're going to hear me talk a lot about journalism, about journaling. Journaling is an incredible self-development tool because it really helps you cultivate that self-awareness and to get to know yourself better. So I'm going to share with you 10 steps. That's right, 10 steps that you can do. So grab a pen and paper, because I'm also going to be sharing with you the prompts, the journaling prompts to use in every one of those steps. And I know this shit works because it worked on me, so I know it's going to work on you. All right, so the first step is to reflect on your perfectionist traits, okay? And some prompts to help you do so are: question number 1, how has perfectionism manifested in different areas of your life? How has perfectionism manifested in different areas of your life? And question number 2, what are some situations or moments where you have felt overwhelmed by the need to be perfect? So when have you found yourself overwhelmed by the need to be perfect? And the second step is identifying the root causes. Some prompts to help you to recognize the root causes are: question number 1, can I trace back the origins of my perfectionism? What experiences or beliefs did I have that might have contributed to it? And the second question to ask: how has my perfectionism impacted my self-esteem and well-being? The third step is to recognize the negative impact that perfectionism has on your life. Some prompts to help you do that. In what ways has perfectionism held you back from pursuing goals or trying new things? And another question: what opportunities have you missed out on due to the fear of not being perfect? The fourth step is to begin to challenge those unrealistic standards. So what standards of perfection do you hold yourself to? Are they actually reasonable and attainable? And another prompt would be: how would your life change if you let go of these unrealistic standards? The fifth step is to begin to embrace the imperfection, and some prompts to help you do so. Prompt number 1, how can I shift my perspective to view my imperfections as opportunities for growth and learning? And number 2, what positive qualities can come from embracing my mistakes and my imperfections? So what positive qualities can come from embracing my imperfection? The sixth step is, again, practice self-compassion. That's a very important theme in all the work that you do on yourself. Some prompts to help you. How do I typically treat myself when I make a mistake or fall short of my expectations? And question number 2, how can I practice self-compassion and treat myself with kindness and understanding instead? The seventh step is to celebrate your progress. Another important thing that will weave throughout all of the doing the work that we'll be doing. Some prompts to help you. Can I recall an instance when I've made progress despite not being perfect? And how did that feel? Another question to ask yourself, how can I remind myself to celebrate my efforts and my accomplishments, no matter how small? Step number 8, set realistic goals. See, I'm not trying to break out that camera and lights and green screen. I'm just doing this on my YouTube. This is more realistic for me. So some questions to ask yourself. How can you set a goal that is challenging without setting yourself up for perfectionist tendencies? And the second question, how can I measure success based on effort, growth, and personal development rather than flawless outcomes? And step number 9, visualize this perfectionism-free life. Some ways that you can begin to do that is by asking yourself, how would I feel and what would I be doing differently if I was living from a place of no perfectionism? So how would I feel and what would I be doing differently in this reality? And another thing to ask, or to just envision, just spend some time visualizing what it would look like if you lived a perfectionist-free life. Just take some time and write down every detail that you pick up on. And finally, the last step is to focus on some affirmations. Having some positive affirmations can help you to go through each of these steps and to celebrate your progress. So one prompt to start this would be, what positive affirmations can I create to remind myself of my worth beyond perfection? And the second, how can I integrate these affirmations into my daily life to combat perfectionist thoughts? But I hope you found those 10 steps helpful. Remember to embrace the process and know that everyone's journey looks different. But as long as you're prioritizing self-compassion, you are a powerful creator and you can begin to rewire your brain. I'm really excited to have this channel because I'm going to be teaching you all about how to do that, how your brain works, how subconscious programs are formed, how you can begin to rewire the brain. So if you're excited about all this mental health content and all the yoga and meditation and psychoeducation, then be sure to hit that subscribe button and make sure to like and share this video if it resonated with you or if you feel like it can help someone else as well. Thank you again for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Thank you. Thank you.